Good evening. Or in the language of hip-hop enthusiasts everywhere, what's happening? How many of you believe that hip-hop is misogynistic or nihilistic or sexist? How many of you believe that hip-hop can be positive and have redemptive value? Wow. That's it, my talk is done. Well, today I'm here to talk about the political power of rap music. Or as Kendrick Lamar so eloquently stated, hood politics. But in order to understand how I began my research on rap music as a political scientist, we must venture back in time. So take a little journey with me. The year was 2000. I was a freshman at Winthrop University, pre-med major. During this year, there were a couple of significant albums that came out that encouraged and inspired me. Jay-Z's The Dynasty dropped this year. Outkast's Stankonia dropped, and it features songs such as Bombs Over Baghdad and Miss Jackson and So Fresh and So Clean, Clean. But one of the most inspirational songs that dropped was Dead Prez' Let's Get Free. See, that album, for me, was very important because it covered all the things that I was studying, everything I was reading, everything that I was learning at the time. So on Dead Prez' album, they talked about oppression and autocracy and revolution in songs like Animal and Man. They talked about having this cultural diasporic identity in songs like I'm an African. They talked about the problems with the public school systems in songs like Their Schools. And throughout the album, they kept talking about a number of social injustices and issues such as racism and oppression. They talked about conspiracy theories, but they even talked about having discipline and the importance of having discipline and eating healthy. So, because I was so heavily into hip hop, I started organizing these informal listening sessions. So I would, the nerd that I am, get all of the lyrics of the songs that I was interested in discussing, get a group of my friends together, we would listen to the songs, and we would discuss the lyrics. And we would point out all of the cultural, political, and societal references that were present in the lyrics. So for example, we'll take a song like 21 Savage's Nothing New. 21 Savage states, stuff is getting outrageous, treat us like slaves, then they lock us up in cages. Young, black, and poor ain't had a father since a baby. Why you think we skip school and hang out on the pavement? Why you think we riding around with choppers off safety? Street cuts throats, so I'm cutthroat. I used to sell dope, now I can't vote. Popping Percocets to kill the pain, I can't cope. Anger in my jeans, they used to hang us up with ropes. Civil rights came, so they flood the hood with coke. Breaking down my people, trying to kill our faith and hope. They killed Martin Luther King, and all he did was spoke. So here, in these listening sessions, we would take this verse, and we would go through, and we would look at the political and cultural and societal references that are in the song. So within this song, 21 Savage equates the slavery, the institution of slavery, to the prison industrial complex. He talks about fatherlessness in the black community. He alludes to felony disenfranchisement. He also talks about the feelings that are associated with the oppression and racism and the pain that it can evoke, and how opioids are utilized to escape that pain. He goes on to talk about a history of lynching that occurred in the black community, as well as the infiltration of crack cocaine in the black community, and the assassination of our political leaders. So this is what we would do in these listening sessions. Now, mind you, I was a pre-med major. So this did not align with what I was doing for my education. This was my hobby. I was going on to be a physician, or so I thought. Then one summer, I took a class on ancient and medieval political thought, and I was introduced to The Republic by Plato. And within that book, I was introduced to Socrates. And see, Socrates used this strategy called the Elenchus, where he questioned everything, which we know as the Socratic method. Me and Socrates were similar in that we both questioned everything. We utilized the Socratic method. And so, for me, I found a place where I can practice the Socratic method and question the things that were of concern with me. So you know what happened next, right? No more pre-med. I changed my major to history and political science. Okay. Now, let's fast forward to 2006. I just completed my second year of graduate school. All my coursework is done. I'm now preparing for my comprehensive exams. So I was spending all of my days reading, analyzing text, taking extensive notes, sometimes sleeping, sometimes eating, but mostly reading and taking notes. And so I decided I was going to treat myself. I was a fan of Dave Chappelle, and he had just released this movie entitled Block Party. In Dave Chappelle's Block Party, it featured all of my favorite artists. People like Erykah Badu, Jill Scott, Dead Press, Mos Def and Talib Kweli, Common, all these artists that I really loved. So I thought I was going to go to the movies, distract myself from all the analytical thinking that was occurring, that I was doing at the time, and I was just going to merely be entertained. And I was entertained. I was in the movie theater dancing, and I was rapping, and I was singing. I was having a good old time. Now, mind you, I was in the movie theater. But I thought I was at the concert. Immediately after the movie, I started talking to my friend about what can we do? How can we organize? What can we do to impact our community? And so I started to think, well, if being exposed to this political rap music impacted my attitudes and my behavior, then how would it impact the attitudes and behaviors of others? So I decided I was going to do my research on hip hop. Now, this wasn't an easy sell, because again, I'm a political scientist. And political scientists don't study rap music. They study Congress, they study the presidency, and they study voting behavior. So I had to convince my committee to allow me to do my research on rap music. And one thing I had to do was to try to differentiate my research from other research that was out there, because there was a lot of research on hip hop, not a lot in political science, but a lot of research nevertheless. Most of this research looked at conscious or message music, or it looked at gangster rap music and the impact that it has on violent attitudes and behavior. I wanted to do things different. The people that were looking at conscious and message rap music were looking at conscious artists. So they were looking at people who were consistently putting out conscious rap songs. As a hip hop head, I knew that you can have an artist such as a Lil Wayne who could talk about having sex with every girl in the world, but can also create a song like Georgia Bush where he talks about the lack of government support to the victims of Hurricane Katrina after New Orleans. So instead of focusing on artists or labeling artists and putting artists in the box, I wanted to focus on rap songs because I knew there was variation in the type of songs that were being produced. So I created a criterion for identifying political rap songs. Again, something that wasn't done before. People discussed message music, but they didn't have a way to qualify what was message music. So for my criterion, I said in order for a song to be identified as a political rap song, it must first contain always a political reference. And this reference can be either explicit or implicit. What that means, this reference can allude to or call out a politician's name, such as Barack Obama or Bill Clinton or Bush, or it can be implicit and make a reference to the 12. That's the police. Okay. Then it must either make a reference to a social issue or problem in society or advocate some type of solution. Okay? So let's see how this works. Now, this is a song called 99 Problems by Jay-Z. And most people think of this song, they think that it's misogynistic and sexist. But what they miss is the second verse. Right? The second verse of this song is political in its own right. This second verse is Jay-Z stating his rights as an American citizen, his Fourth Amendment rights against illegal searches and seizures. This is what Jay-Z is talking about in the second verse. Okay, so the verse is political, so it satisfies my condition, but in case you don't believe that, he also references the law and Jake, another word for police, in this verse as well. But Jay-Z goes on to talk about a societal issue. So he says, "Son, do you know what I'm stopping you for? Because I'm young and I'm black and my hat's real low." He's talking about racial profiling. That's the issue in society, right? But Jay-Z's song is unique because he also offers a solution. When he says, "Well, my glove compartment is locked, so it's the trunk in the back, and I know my rights, so you're going to need a warrant for that." Jay-Z is saying, I have protection against illegal searches and seizures, and if you want to look in my car, you need a warrant. That was his solution. Now, don't follow Jay-Z. He's not 100% correct. There's this thing called probable cause, right, where you can search a vehicle without a warrant. But just to give you another example, in case you are still unsure if this criterion works, let's look at this song. Okay, so this verse is also a political rap verse. In this verse, Wu-Tang, or RZA, actually references a number of political leaders and activists. He references JFK, he references Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Marcus Garvey, Medgar Evers. He also references Clarence the 13th X. So there are political references within the song. He also goes on to talk about societal issues where he's talking about integration and segregation. He is also alluding to racism and oppression. So this is an example of another political rap song. So now that I have established that political rap songs exist and that we should look at the songs instead of the artists, then I needed to figure out a way to show that this music, exposure to this music actually impacts behavior. So what I did is I created an experiment. And within this experiment, I exposed subjects to 5 different manipulations. In one manipulation, which was my control group, they didn't hear any music, and they answered a questionnaire that had various questions on it to measure black feminist and black nationalist attitudes. In the other 4 conditions, they were exposed to 3 songs, either in the political rap group, non-political rap, R&B, or pop music. Okay, so they would listen to the songs and answer the same questionnaire. My results showed that those in the political rap group were statistically more significantly supportive of Black nationalism than those in the non-political rap group or those that were in the control group, the group that did not listen to any music. Similarly, we also saw, when looking at attitudes of Black feminism, that those in the political rap group were more supportive of Black feminist attitudes than those in the non-political rap group. So what does this mean? This means that there are subgenres of rap music, that we cannot look at rap as one homogeneous genre. When we talk about rap, we need to talk about different aspects of hip hop and different aspects of rap music. This also demonstrates that there is a relationship between hip hop and politics. And we're able to see that relationship so vividly in our current era. Currently, we have hip hop artists that are campaigning for politicians. We have hip hop artists that are mobilizing voters to get out to vote. And we even have hip hop artists that are running for political positions. In fact, this year we had our first hip hop artist turned politician in Antonio Delgado. So the next time you hear a hip hop song on your radio, don't dismiss it. Listen to it, because there is power in the music. Thank you.